Some days just feel heavier than others. January 24 is one of those days for many of us. You wake up, and the weight of unfinished tasks, past regrets, and the uncertainty of the future presses down like an invisible burden. You wonder why life feels so slow, why progress feels so minimal, and why you feel so alone in your struggle. But here's the truth: heaviness is often a signal that something important is happening behind the scenes. God is working, even when you can't see it. Heaviness is not a punishment, it's preparation. When life feels overwhelming, it's because something is stirring inside of you. A lesson, a change, or a breakthrough you haven't yet realized. Just like pressure forms diamonds, life's pressure shapes your character, your resilience, and your purpose. What you feel as heaviness today might be the very thing that launches you into clarity tomorrow. Even when nothing seems to move, progress is happening in ways you cannot measure. Your ideas are taking shape. Your discipline is strengthening quietly. Your relationships, your skills, and your vision are being aligned for the right moment. You may feel stuck, but God is arranging circumstances, people, and opportunities that will make your next step easier, more effective, and more meaningful. This is the unseen work of life, the invisible scaffolding that supports your breakthrough. Heavy days teach lessons you can't learn otherwise. They teach patience when you want instant results. They teach humility when pride tempts you to rush. They teach discernment when choices feel unclear. Each moment of struggle is a classroom, and every sigh, every moment of fatigue is part of the curriculum. If you treat heaviness as a teacher rather than a punishment, you'll see that each burden carries a lesson that equips you for the journey ahead. Reflection becomes critical on days like this. Take a moment to examine your life, your decisions, your priorities, your habits. Look at the small victories you may have overlooked and the patterns that need adjustment. Reflection allows you to see connections you missed before, to recognize opportunities that are right in front of you, and to understand that heaviness is often God's way of inviting you to grow, refine, and prepare. Faith in the unseen is essential. Just because you cannot see the end of the road doesn't mean the road isn't leading somewhere extraordinary. Trust that God's timing is perfect, and that the heaviness of today is shaping the future you desire. Life has a way of orchestrating outcomes that are far better than anything you could have imagined. He is quietly working behind the scenes, moving things in your favor, preparing you for what you cannot yet perceive. Heaviness calls for action. Even while God works, you have a role to play. Move strategically, persistently, and intentionally. Take small steps, make wise choices, and keep showing up. The heaviness you feel is not a stop sign. It's a signal to act with focus, courage, and trust. Each step you take, however small, builds momentum, aligns with purpose, and honors the unseen work taking place in your life. So when January 24 feels heavy, remember this: you are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are not failing. You are being prepared. You are being shaped. And the weight you feel today is proof that God is working. Trust the process, embrace the lessons, and keep moving. Heaviness is not the end. It is the bridge to your breakthrough. Some days feel heavier than others, and January 24 is one of those days for many people. The weight you feel is not always caused by extraordinary events. Often, it is the accumulation of ordinary pressures, small decisions left unresolved, and the quiet tensions of daily life that build up unnoticed until they press down on you all at once. You wake up with a sense of fatigue that has nothing to do with your physical strength, but everything to do with the emotional and mental load you have been carrying for weeks, months, or even years. It is as though the world expects you to move forward at the same pace every day, yet your inner self feels slower, tired, and burdened. The heaviness is not necessarily visible to others. Friends may greet you with smiles, colleagues may nod with politeness, but inside, there is a constant struggle, a sense of imbalance, and the feeling that life is asking more than you are ready to give. On these days, even simple decisions feel monumental. Choosing what to eat, what task to start, or what conversation to have becomes complicated, because your mind and spirit are weighed down by accumulated stress, uncertainty, or unresolved emotions. You might look around and wonder why everything feels so difficult when yesterday life seemed manageable. This is a reminder that heaviness is not always about the events themselves, but about how life's ongoing demands intersect with our inner state. The weight of ordinary days often comes from the accumulation of small, unnoticed burdens. When you fail to address minor challenges, avoid uncomfortable conversations, or postpone personal growth, each small avoidance adds a brick to an invisible load you carry. Over time, this weight builds until even routine tasks feel like obstacles, and familiar routines feel like mountains. You may have bills to pay, responsibilities to meet, or relationships to nurture, and even the act of juggling all these things can feel overwhelming on days like January 24. This weight is subtle because it is incremental. It does not announce itself with drama, but it affects your energy, focus, and emotional resilience. Some people describe this heaviness as anxiety, low motivation, or emotional fatigue. But the truth is deeper. It is the natural effect of life's ongoing demands intersecting with your internal readiness and emotional bandwidth. It is important to recognize that this heaviness is not a failure. It is a natural human experience and often signals that your system, your mind, your spirit, and your emotional reserves needs recalibration. Heaviness also has a psychological dimension. On days like January 24, you may notice that your thoughts are more critical, your patience thinner, and your emotions more reactive. You may replay past mistakes, dwell on what you have not achieved, or feel that your progress is invisible to the world. This mental weight compounds the physical and emotional fatigue, creating a sense that everything is harder than it should be. Yet, this is precisely the moment when awareness becomes most important. Recognizing that your heaviness is a signal rather than a punishment allows you to pause, reflect, and approach the day differently. Instead of pushing through blindly or numbing yourself with distraction, you can choose to observe what is weighing you down. Journaling, meditating, or simply sitting in quiet reflection can reveal the patterns of thought and behavior that contribute to the heaviness, giving you the insight needed to release what is unnecessary and realign with what truly matters. Another aspect of heavy days is the tension between external expectations and internal reality. You might feel pressure from work, family, or society to perform, succeed, and appear composed, even when your inner energy is low. This discrepancy creates friction, because while life demands action, your spirit needs pause. January 24 may feel heavy because it exposes this tension. It is a day when the demands of the external world meet the vulnerability of your internal state, revealing areas where you need rest, recalibration, or guidance. The heaviness is a form of signal, It draws your attention to the places in your life where adjustments are necessary, where priorities need reevaluation, and where your inner world requires care and nurture. The weight of ordinary days carries with it an invitation. Heaviness is not permanent. It is a temporary state meant to guide you toward awareness, reflection, and growth. It asks you to slow down, observe, and take deliberate action. By recognizing the weight, accepting it without judgment, and understanding that these days are part of a larger process, you begin to see that heaviness is not an enemy, but a teacher. It teaches patience, resilience, and insight. It shows you the areas of life that need attention and care. It reminds you that your journey is not about avoiding weight, but learning to move with it, understanding it, and using it as a force for preparation and transformation. On days like January 24, the heaviness is not a blockade. It is a signal that your life is unfolding, that changes are in motion, and that unseen forces are at work preparing the way for your next step. Progress is not always visible. On days like January 24, it is easy to feel stuck, frustrated, or even abandoned because the changes you hope for seem distant or non-existent. You look around and see little evidence that your efforts are making a difference. And the mind begins to question whether all the work, discipline, and sacrifice were in vain. Yet, just because progress is invisible does not mean it is not happening. Much of life's most significant growth occurs in ways that cannot be measured by immediate results, social recognition, or tangible outcomes. Like roots growing beneath the soil, unseen progress builds a foundation that eventually sustains the life above ground. The struggle you feel today, the challenges you face, and the effort you invest quietly accumulate into skills, resilience, and insights that you will need when the moment of breakthrough arrives. What you see as stagnation is often the phase where life is aligning circumstances, strengthening your character, and preparing the path for something greater than you can currently imagine. Invisible progress is often misunderstood because it cannot be measured in conventional terms. You may be learning, refining, or maturing in ways that are not obvious to others or even to yourself. Each experience of discomfort, each mistake, and each period of waiting contributes to a personal evolution that cannot be captured in numbers or visible achievements. For instance, a day filled with repetitive tasks, setbacks, or quiet endurance may appear wasted, yet it is in those moments that problem-solving abilities are sharpened, patience is strengthened, and emotional resilience is fortified. The mind and spirit are being trained in subtle ways that eventually produce results far more durable and meaningful than instant success. This is why heavy days, while difficult, are essential. They are periods when the invisible processes of life are working most diligently, molding your capacity to handle future opportunities and challenges. Faith in invisible progress requires trust and perspective. It is natural to desire immediate confirmation that your efforts are producing results. But life does not operate on our schedule. Growth, preparation, and alignment often occur behind the scenes, orchestrated in ways that we cannot perceive. The invisible work may include the development of skills, the strengthening of relationships, or the creation of opportunities that are not yet ready to reveal themselves. Trusting that these processes are occurring allows you to continue working faithfully, even when the evidence seems absent. It requires patience, a steady commitment to your principles, and the ability to believe in outcomes that are not yet tangible. The invisible progress you cultivate today becomes the foundation for the visible victories of tomorrow. Another aspect of invisible progress is the subtle transformation of character. On heavy days, when your energy feels low and motivation seems distant, your response to challenges shapes who you become. Choosing integrity when no one is watching, maintaining perseverance in the face of setbacks, and embracing growth rather than complaining all contribute to invisible progress. This is progress that will not appear on a resume, social media post, or financial statement, yet it defines the trajectory of your life in profound ways. Character building is slow and often uncomfortable, but it is precisely what allows the tangible achievements to be sustained. Without invisible progress, visible success is fragile and fleeting. Invisible progress also involves the alignment of circumstances. Sometimes, what you perceive as stagnation is actually the meticulous arrangement of events, relationships, and opportunities that must fall into place before visible results can manifest. It is like an architect preparing a foundation. Before the building rises, the base must be strong, level, and secure. Similarly, the invisible work that occurs during heavy days ensures that when success arrives, it is stable, enduring, and impactful. Life is often working behind the scenes on your behalf, even when it feels as though nothing is happening. Recognizing this requires awareness and reflection, and understanding that heaviness is not emptiness, but a sign that preparation is underway. Invisible progress demands a balance of action and patience. While trusting the unseen processes is essential, it does not mean passivity. Daily choices, consistent effort, and intentional actions are the seeds of progress that interact with unseen forces. Even small steps taken with focus and integrity contribute to long-term outcomes. The heaviness of January 24 is not a sign that life is against you. It is evidence that the invisible mechanisms of growth, alignment, and preparation are at work. Recognizing this allows you to endure with patience, act with intention, and believe that the work you are doing, though invisible now, will bear fruit in ways that surpass your current understanding and expectations. Discomfort is one of the most misunderstood elements of growth and transformation. On days like January 24, when life feels heavy, it is easy to perceive discomfort as a problem, a failure, or a sign that you are doing something wrong. Yet, the truth is that discomfort is often the most effective teacher you will ever encounter. It is through discomfort that your patience is strengthened, your resilience is tested, and your understanding of yourself deepens. Life's challenges and the heaviness of difficult days are not arbitrary. They are intentional opportunities for learning. Every moment of unease, every frustration, and every challenge carries within it a lesson that, if observed and embraced, equips you for a stronger, more capable version of yourself. Rather than resisting discomfort, it becomes a tool for growth, a signal pointing you toward areas where development is necessary and where potential is waiting to be unlocked. Discomfort forces awareness. When everything in life is easy, comfortable, and predictable, there is little reason to look inward or examine the structures of your life. It is the heavy days, the moments of struggle, and the experiences that stretch your limits that push you to notice patterns you may have ignored, habits you need to adjust, and priorities that require realignment. On a day like January 24, the heaviness you feel is not a burden without purpose. It is a mirror reflecting areas of your life that need attention. By paying attention to the discomfort, You begin to identify where compromises, neglect, or avoidance have slowed your progress. The lessons that emerge from these moments are not abstract. They are practical guides that teach you how to navigate life more effectively, make wiser decisions, and cultivate a mindset capable of thriving under pressure. Discomfort also strengthens resilience. When life presses on you, when tasks feel overwhelming, or when emotional burdens seem too heavy to bear, it is resilience that carries you forward. Each experience of discomfort is an exercise in endurance, teaching you how to remain steady when circumstances are unfavorable. The more you face and navigate these heavy moments, the more capable you become of handling future challenges. This is the paradox of discomfort. While it may feel like a hindrance in the moment, it is simultaneously forging the inner strength required to move beyond the very challenges that created the heaviness. Without discomfort, resilience remains theoretical, untested, and fragile. Heavy days, difficult interactions, and emotionally taxing situations are the laboratories in which resilience is built, one test at a time. Moreover, discomfort encourages creativity and problem solving. When life becomes heavy and ordinary solutions no longer suffice, your mind is forced to expand and explore alternatives. Challenges and obstacles push you out of routine thinking, forcing innovation and adaptability. January 24 may feel like a day of stagnation, yet it often creates the conditions for new ideas, approaches, and insights to emerge. It is in moments of tension and unease that you are most likely to discover resourcefulness you did not know you possessed. Discomfort prompts reflection on what works, what does not, and how to adjust in order to move forward. In this way, heavy days serve as incubators for growth, innovation, and personal development. Another crucial aspect of lessons in discomfort is the cultivation of patience and humility. Heavy days often remind us that not everything is under our control, and that life does not always move at the pace we desire. These days teach the value of waiting wisely, acting with intention, and accepting that some processes take time. They also highlight the importance of humility, reminding us that we are part of a larger system, influenced by forces beyond our immediate perception. By embracing discomfort, rather than fighting it, you learn to work with life's flow rather than against it. Patience and humility are not passive traits. They are active forms of wisdom that allow you to respond to life effectively, even when the world seems heavy or unfair. Lessons in discomfort cultivate self-awareness and emotional intelligence. When you feel the weight of a challenging day, your reactions, emotions, and thought patterns are illuminated in ways that easy days never reveal. You learn what triggers stress, how you respond under pressure, and which coping strategies are effective versus destructive. Each encounter with discomfort is a feedback loop, providing insight into your character, behavior, and mindset. By observing yourself honestly and without judgment, you can make deliberate choices about how to improve, adapt, and grow. The heaviness of January 24 is not merely a test of endurance. It is a structured learning experience designed to teach you how to navigate life with greater wisdom, strength, and maturity. Reflection is a skill often overlooked in the rush of daily life. Yet it is one of the most powerful tools for personal growth and understanding. On heavy days like January 24, when the weight of responsibilities, emotions, and unresolved challenges presses down, reflection becomes not just useful, but essential. It is in these moments of pause that clarity begins to emerge. allowing you to examine the choices, habits, and patterns that shape your life. Reflection is not simply thinking about what happened. It is an intentional process of observing your thoughts, evaluating your actions, and understanding the deeper lessons embedded in your experiences. When life feels overwhelming, reflection provides a mental and emotional anchor, giving you the space to see connections that were previously invisible and to identify opportunities that are waiting to be seized. Without reflection, the heaviness you feel can become a cycle of confusion and frustration. But with it, even the most challenging days become opportunities for insight, growth, and preparation for what lies ahead. Through reflection, you begin to recognize the power of your decisions and their cumulative effect on your life. Each choice, no matter how small, contributes to your present circumstances. On days that feel heavy, it is easy to blame external forces, other people, or circumstances for your struggles. Reflection challenges this mindset, encouraging you to take ownership of your actions and their outcomes. By honestly examining the ways in which you have contributed to your current situation, through habits, priorities, or even missed opportunities, you gain the ability to make more deliberate and effective choices in the future. This process is empowering because it shifts your perspective from being a passive observer of life to being an active participant in your growth and progress. It shows that even when life feels heavy, you have the ability to influence the trajectory of your own journey through awareness, intention, and self-accountability. Reflection also allows you to evaluate your alignment with your purpose and long-term goals. Heavy days often feel heavy precisely because there is a disconnect between where you are and where you want to be. By taking the time to reflect, you can identify the areas where your actions, habits, or mindset are out of alignment with your deeper goals and values. This awareness is crucial because it allows you to make course corrections before small misalignments turn into larger setbacks. Reflection provides a roadmap for adjustment, showing you what needs to change and what should remain, guiding you toward a path that is consistent with your vision for your life. It transforms heaviness from a burden into a compass, pointing you toward clarity, purpose, and intentional action. In addition, reflection strengthens your emotional intelligence and resilience. When life feels heavy, emotions can cloud judgment, distort perspective, and amplify stress. Reflection creates a space to process these emotions constructively, allowing you to observe them without being controlled by them. By examining your reactions, triggers, and patterns of thought, you develop greater self-awareness and the ability to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This emotional insight fosters resilience because it equips you with the tools to handle future challenges with composure and discernment. Heavy days are inevitable, but reflection ensures that you are learning from them rather than being weighed down by them, turning moments of difficulty into opportunities for growth in both character and wisdom. Reflection also uncovers hidden opportunities and insights that might otherwise be missed. Life often presents lessons in subtle ways, and without thoughtful contemplation, these lessons pass unnoticed. By intentionally stepping back, reviewing your experiences, and questioning the reasons behind events, you begin to see patterns and connections that were invisible in the business of everyday life. Insights gained through reflection can spark creativity, problem solving, and innovation, helping you to navigate challenges more effectively and to recognize opportunities that align with your growth and purpose. The heaviness you feel on January 24 is not just an obstacle. It is an invitation to slow down, examine, and discover what is waiting to be understood and applied. Reflection cultivates gratitude and perspective. Heavy days often make it easy to focus solely on what is difficult, what is lacking, or what has gone wrong. Reflection provides balance by highlighting progress, growth, and the support systems that surround you. By consciously acknowledging both the challenges and the wins, you develop a broader perspective that tempers frustration and strengthens hope. It reminds you that heaviness is temporary, that lessons are being learned, and that growth is occurring even when it is not immediately apparent. Reflection transforms the weight of the day into a meaningful part of your life journey, turning heaviness into clarity, learning, and preparation for the opportunities that lie ahead.